Hey guys, it's Lauren from the Express Lane, and today we are flipping the script when it comes to interview questions. Now, if you're watching this video, you've probably watched a few other videos here on YouTube that are all about interview questions, and hey, we even filmed some of those here on our channel too. But today we are switching it up and talking about why you get asked these interview questions. Why do potential employers love to ask these interview questions? And really kind of take a look behind the curtain, so to speak, to give you an idea of what are maybe some better ways that you could be answering interview questions in the future. Let's jump in. A question that most interviewers prefer to open with is the standard interview question, why did you apply for this job, or what attracted you to this role? And I think a lot of us look at this question at more of a surface level. We think, okay, well, I applied because it's closer to my house, or it offers remote work opportunities, or it fits within my skill set, or maybe, hey, it just pays better than the job that I'm currently at. We might be thinking all of those things, and those might be the first things that come to our mind, but employers don't want us to actually verbalize those answers because they're actually looking for something a lot deeper for why they're asking this question in the first place. And many of us too have also heard the advice when it comes to answering this question that we need to research the company and research the mission and have all of this background knowledge about the company. And yes, that is going to be helpful when it comes to answering this question, but a good job description should have a little bit about the company, should give you at least an idea of what the company as a whole does. So what the employer really wants to know when it comes to this answer is they want to know that number one, you have a true solid understanding of the job description, and two, that you have taken the time to think about how this job fits in with your long-term career goals. Because what this does is it shows the employer that you have an understanding and that you are excited about the company, that you can see yourself at the company long term, and that you can also see yourself growing in this role, and that you'll be engaged and enthusiastic when it comes to getting started in this new role. The next question that a lot of interviewers like to ask is, what is one of your proudest accomplishments? Now, most of us have a few different moments in our life where we can pinpoint like, yep, that was a really proud moment for me. I worked really hard to get there. It was so exciting to see this accomplishment actually happen. And when it comes to answering this question, I think the biggest thing that people struggle with is, how do I figure out which accomplishment is the one that I should go with? Does it need to be an on-the-job accomplishment? Could it be a personal accomplishment, or maybe accomplishment from undergrad or high school? How do I even pick one of those accomplishments? And a lot of it comes down to you yourself, because the employer is trying to distinguish a couple different things by asking you this question. The first thing that they're trying to figure out is if you have trouble identifying accomplishments, or if you have a fear of success. So you don't want the employer to think either one of those things. You want them to know that, hey, you do have many moments in your life that you're very proud of. So number one, make sure you have an example identified for answering this question. But the second thing, which I think is the most important thing that the employer is trying to figure out, is if you are more of a team player, or if you are more of a, lone wolf, so to speak. Because they want to know, hey, do you, drive accomplishment and you view success from being part of a team, or do you view your success as more of like your individual personal successes? And the reason why they want to know this, of course, is because they need to figure out what's going to work best in this specific role. Because yes, companies are absolutely built on strong individuals as well as strong teams, but depending on this specific role, the employer is going to know whether they need more of a team player in this role, or whether they need more of a self-starter, more of someone who can take things and run with them as an individual without a lot of supervision. So there really isn't, as long as you have an accomplishment identified, there isn't really a right or wrong way to answer this question. And a lot of it's really going to just come down to, what does the specific employer need for this role? Keeping in line with the previous question, one of the next questions that interviewers like to ask are, what's one of your greatest weaknesses? What's something that you struggle with? And I think a lot of us, again, we try to go for something that we think the employer wants to hear, right? And I am looking very hard at all of you that have ever used the word, oh, I'm a perfectionist, that's my weakness, as one of your interview questions. And believe you me, I'm looking in the mirror when I say that, because I have definitely used that as one of my weaknesses in interviews that I've done before too. So we've all been there, but keep in mind that that's not necessarily what the employer wants to hear. That's not what they're looking for. Instead, the interviewer is asking you this question because they ultimately want to know how self-aware you are. How well do you really know yourself and know your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the job? So when it comes to answering this question, the first thing that an employer wants to know is, one, an honest answer. What's an honest weakness when something that you are honestly working on? And they also want to know, number two, how you have fixed it, how you plan to fix it, or even how you've started fixing it and you're in the process of fixing it. Because they want to know that, hey, you're aware of this, you obviously understand that that's something that needs to be worked on, and now you are working on it, because this shows them in the future, if you get a note on some kind of constructive criticism or something that you need to do to improve at work, they want to know that you can take that note and that you will then use that to make improvements on the job. One of the next questions that we see a lot being asked in an interview is, why are you leaving your current company, or why are you leaving your most recent company? Now, we all have different reasons for why we might be leaving, and some of them are very surface level, that it's just the job's not paying the bills. Other reasons why I might be leaving companies stem from a toxic work environment, a really horrible boss, whatever it happens to be. Now, this is, again, another one of those questions that I think a lot of us think about our answer in terms of a very surface level reason. We just start thinking, oh, well, we'll just tell them why we're leaving. And that's not really the reason for the employer to ask the question. The employer is asking the question because they want to know how loyal of an employee you'll be. And they also want to know what you value, what are things that are important to you, because they want to make sure that they're providing those things to you, making sure that their company is able to provide value to you so that you stick around for a long time. Now, the one thing that interviewers across the board agree with is that you should never, ever badmouth your previous employer or your previous boss. Even if in your heart of hearts, you know that that is the only reason why you're leaving that company, don't actually say that in your next interview. Instead, what you want to do is flip the script, just like the title of this video suggests, right? You want to flip the script, and instead of saying, I'm leaving because of XYZ and going on about all of these horrible things that are going on at your current company, instead you want to say, I'm leaving this company because I am looking for new opportunities regarding XYZ. I'm looking for new opportunities to grow. I'm looking for new opportunities to expand my role, to learn something new, whatever it happens to be. Don't focus on the past of where you're coming from. Focus on the future of where you want to go, and explain how the company that you're applying for, how they can help live up to those values, and how they can really help you achieve your career goals. Now, the last interview question that I wanted to chat about today is the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it is very ironic because this question is actually something I've been asking myself a lot recently, and it's something I've even asked my team recently. So this isn't a question that you want to just save for potential interviews down the road. This is something that you do genuinely want to be thinking about from time to time, of where you want your career to go in the next few years. So when an employer asks you this question, there are, of course, a few different things that they're trying to gauge. The first thing that they're trying to gauge are going to be those personal characteristics. Now, depending on, of course, how you answer this question, it can show how driven of an employee you are. It can show how organized of an employee you are. And so the potential employer is really trying to pick out some of these characteristics to just get a better idea of who you are and how well you're going to fit in with the company. And the second thing that they're trying to gauge is, how do your career goals fit in with the company itself? Are there positions that already exist in the company that you could grow into, or potential roles that the company wants to add that you could grow into? Or Do you have career aspirations that are completely different than anything that the company is ever going to be able to offer you? Now, if this is the case, this is not the time to say it in an interview, because if you do let the interviewer know, hey, my long-term career goals are something way outside the company, then now this interviewer knows they're probably only going to get like 1 or 2 good years out of you before you do leave the company and go on to something else. So this is absolutely a question where you want to talk about your long-term career goals, but you also want to very much relate those to the company rather than discussing, here are my plans 5 years down the road when I plan to leave the company. We hope this video was able to give you an insider's view of what employers are really looking for when they ask these standard interview questions. And if you would love to see more, if you'd love to see part 2 of this video where we dive into even more interview questions, please give this video a like. It lets us know to create content like this in the future. We will also go ahead and leave a few other of our interview question videos linked in the description box below, so be sure to check out down there. And we'll see you back here next Wednesday, where we bring you even more tips to help you get your career in the express lane.